The story of the Prophet Yusuf, peace of Allah be upon him, is a long subject which has been detailed in an entire chapter of the Quran, named Surah Yusuf. This is the 12th chapter in the Quran. What we are going to focus on in this video is that after his death, Prophet Yusuf was not buried on earth, but his coffin was put in the river Nile. It was the Prophet Moses who came centuries later, who removed his body from the river Nile and buried it in the soil, hundreds of kilometers from Egypt. How did all this happen and why? Well, you'll find out in this video. Yusuf is one of the earliest prophets of the children of Israel. He was the youngest son of Prophet Jacob, peace be upon him. Prophet Yusuf had 10 brothers from different mothers and only one brother from the same mother as him. They lived in Canaan, which is now Palestine. Yusuf's brothers developed hatred against him because they felt he was more loved by their father than they were. Unable to handle their emotions, they planned to get rid of him by throwing him into a well. Meanwhile, Yusuf managed to cling onto a stone ledge. He prayed fervently to Allah to grant him salvation. Soon, a caravan bound for Egypt stopped at this well to fetch water. The water drawer hauled up his bucket and was shocked to see the handsome boy clinging onto the rope. The caravan people immediately shackled Yusuf and took him along to Egypt, where he was sold as a slave. In Egypt, he went through different kinds of hardship, including prison. Yusuf spent between 7 and 10 years in prison, while his father Jacob was informed that he died eaten by a wolf. Jacob went blind from crying from the grief of losing his son. But later, Yusuf came out of prison and became a treasurer or minister of finance in Egypt. Several years later, there was a famine that also reached the household of Jacob in Canaan. Jacob sent his sons to Egypt to purchase provisions. Yusuf immediately recognized his brothers and provided for them because he had already forgiven them, but kept his identity disguised. Later on, he introduced himself. His brothers were stunned to discover that it was Yusuf after what they had done to him. In short, his brothers returned to Canaan to bring their father, and they started living in Egypt with Yusuf. Prophet Jacob was very happy to reunite with his son after 40 years of separation. Jacob lived in Egypt for 17 years and died at the age of 147. Prophet Yusuf passed away a few years later when he was 120 years old. It was after the death of Yusuf that the Egyptian kingdom passed into the hands of rulers known as the pharaohs. When he died, a conflict broke out. His people loved him so much that everyone wanted him to be buried in their village so that the village would be blessed. But after a long debate, someone suggested to put him in a marble coffin and to bury him in the Nile. That way his blessings could spread throughout Egypt through the Nile water, and so the blessings could reach everyone. This is how the body of Prophet Yusuf was buried in the Nile. It should be noted here that in Islam, there is no such a belief that one can receive blessings from a deceased person, be it a prophet or any other pious person. Only God can bestow blessings. Hundreds of years later, when Allah ordered Prophet Moses to cross the Nile with the children of Israel, he took Yusuf's coffin with him to Canaan and buried him there. Why did Prophet Musa make this decision? And how was he able to discover the place where Yusuf's body was buried in the Nile? And then, years later, why did the Jews do everything to try find the place where Musa had buried the body of Prophet Yusuf? To get answers to all these questions, click on the video that appear on the screen and the link is in the description. Thank you for your time. Assalamu alaikum.